The sun had long since slipped behind the pines when he finally closed the garage door. Asterisk oil stained his hands. His knuckles were scraped. His breath steamed in the cold air, even inside the shop, but he didn't mind, not really. The hum of the old fluorescent lights, the gentle clink of tools cooling in their trays, they'd become the soundtrack of his evenings ever since she left. Ever since everything got quieter, Noah had grown used to the silence, not the sharp kind that comes from anger, but the soft one, the kind that follows grief. It filled his small auto shop like dust, resting in the corners, unnoticed until the light hit it just right. Asterisk some nights, he stayed late even when there wasn't work to do. The creak of the stool, the warmth of the heater ticking in the corner, a picture frame on the wall, crooked from when his daughter had last run in to hug him. Long ago, asterisk, she would have been 11 by now. Maybe 12. He didn't check the calendar anymore, he just worked, quietly, kindly, kept to himself, and so, when headlights bounced off the snowdrift and a low, wounded rumble echoed across the gravel, Noah didn't flinch, but something in him paused, just for a beat. As if some forgotten part had tilted its head and listened. The car was struggling. It turned the bend slow, like it was limping. The Mustang was old, 60s model, maybe a 68, but you could tell she'd once been loved. Someone had poured heart into that car. The paint had long since faded, but under the grime, it still tried to shine. Noah wiped his hands on a rag and stepped out into the snow. The car hissed once, then gave up, hood steaming. Driver door creaked open, asterisk, and out stepped a woman. Wrapped in a coat far too thin for this weather, her boots dusted with salt, her hands shaking not from cold but from whatever she'd just come through. She looked up at the sign above the garage, then at him, asterisk. "I'm sorry to barge in like this," she said, her voice rough from disuse. "It started smoking 2 miles back, barely made it here." Asterisk Noah didn't answer at first. He just looked at the car, then back at her. The silence stretched between them like breath held too long. Then softly, asterisk, "You did good. Most people push cars like that too far. You pulled over just in time." Asterisk, he motioned toward the garage. She followed asterisk inside. Warmth met them in small ways. A space heater tucked beside the counter. A kettle on a metal shelf. 2 chipped mugs waiting for hands. She stood just inside the door, unsure whether to sit or run. Asterisk Noah didn't pry. He just nodded toward the stool. Asterisk. "You want coffee?" Asterisk, she hesitated. "If it's not a bother." Asterisk. "It isn't." Asterisk, he poured 2 cups. The scent filled the space, rich and quiet. He passed her a mug and finally looked her full in the face. Asterisk. She had the kind of tired eyes that weren't just from lack of sleep. They were the kind you only earned after walking through a storm and not being sure you'd made it out. Her hair was tied back hastily, her cheek bruised faintly like a memory trying to fade. Asterisk Noah didn't ask what happened. He'd learned a long time ago. Some stories tell themselves in their own time. Asterisk, she took a sip, then glanced at her car through the window. Asterisk, "I know she's old," she said, "but she's all I have." Asterisk Noah nodded. "Cars like that don't give up easy." A soft smile touched her lips, almost an apology. "She was my dad's. He taught me how to drive in that car. Left it to me when he passed. I've been trying to keep her going ever since." Asterisk Noah stood and walked over to the counter, pulling out a flashlight. "I'll take a look," he said gently. "You don't have to do that tonight, asterisk, I know." He looked back at her. "But she looks like she needs someone, and I reckon you do too." Asterisk, the words hung in the air for a moment, then settled. She didn't cry. She just nodded. Asterisk outside. The snow had started to fall again, slow and patient. The kind that didn't rush, didn't sting, just blanketed the world in softness. Asterisk Noah popped the hood and leaned in. The engine hissed a little, but he worked without flinching. Something in him found peace in the sound of turning bolts and old parts groaning. Something about tending to an old machine made the world feel mended for a while. Asterisk inside the shop. The woman walked slowly along the shelves, touching a wrench here, a photo there. She found the frame with the little girl. Picked it up. Asterisk, she yours? Asterisk, Noah's hand stilled, then started again. Asterisk, she was. Silence. I'm sorry, the woman said. Asterisk, Noah didn't respond. He just kept working. Asterisk, by the time he stepped. Back inside, snow clung to his shoulders. She stood by the window, watching the quiet street. Asterisk, she needs a new belt, he said. Radiator's cracked, but I've got a spare from a 66 out back. I can rig something until we get the right one in. She turned to him, eyes unsure. I don't have the money. Not yet. I was just passing through town, headed to a job in the next state. I didn't think I'd need a mechanic. Asterisk, Noah held her gaze, then shook his head. Asterisk, you needed someone kind. Asterisk, he said it without pride. Just fact. Asterisk, the woman's breath caught. She blinked slowly, as if holding something back. But she nodded. I'm Eva, she said at last. Noah. Asterisk, they shook hands. And something passed between them, not attraction, not yet, but something quieter, like recognition. Like a bridge forming between two people who didn't know. They were stranded until they met in the middle. He pointed toward the back room. There's a cot through there, clean blanket. Coffee in the morning, you're not driving tonight. I don't want to be a burden, you're not. Asterisk, he turned back toward the garage. Hands already reaching for tools again. Asterisk, Eva stood a long moment in the doorway, then disappeared into the back. Asterisk, and when the garage lights finally clicked off, and the silence returned, it felt different. Asterisk, not hollow, not heavy, just shared. Asterisk, somewhere outside, the snow kept falling, covering the scars of the earth, softening the edges, offering the night a second chance. Asterisk. The morning came slowly, not with brilliance or birdsong, but with a soft, pale gray light that slipped through the garage windows like a whispered memory. Snow had painted everything clean overnight, the street, the trees, the roof of Ava's Mustang. It made the world seem quieter than it was, like the noise of life had been muffled beneath the weight of something beautiful and still. Asterisk, Noah stood at the shop counter, pouring 2 mugs of coffee. Asterisk, he didn't knock on the back room door, just left a mug near the edge of the cot where she'd slept and stepped outside. There were bolts to tighten, a gasket to realign. He liked that kind of work, not fast, not loud, just steady. Hands moving, heart somewhere in the silence. Asterisk, he'd almost forgotten she was still inside until her voice reached him from the doorway. Asterisk, you make coffee for every stranded stranger? Asterisk, Noah looked up. She was wrapped in his flannel, the red one he kept hanging on the hook near the door. It hung loosely around her, sleeves too long, but it suited her more than she knew. Asterisk, only the ones who look like they haven't had warmth in a while. He replied softly. Asterisk, she smiled. This time a real one, still quiet, but less hesitant. Asterisk, the snow crunched under her boots as she walked toward the Mustang. She touched the hood gently, as though greeting an old friend after battle. Asterisk, thank you, she said. For the cot? And the silence. Noah glanced at her. Sometimes silence is the kindest thing we can give each other. Asterisk, they worked side by side for a while, not speaking much but not needing to. She held the flashlight without being asked. Watched the way his hands moved, careful, respectful, like he was listening to the car rather than fixing it. Asterisk, I haven't seen anyone treat an engine like that in years, she said at one point, like it's alive. Asterisk, it's not. Just metal, he said. It's memory. People carry their stories in machines. They drive them through grief, through love. You fix a car, you touch every place it's ever been. Asterisk, Eva looked down. Her eyes had that far-off ache again. Asterisk, I used to ride in this car with my dad. Top down, he'd play jazz too loud, take the back roads just to make me laugh. Then the world changed. He got sick. The laughter got quiet. Noah didn't interrupt. I didn't mean to end up here, she continued. I was just passing through, running from a version of myself I didn't want to keep being. She stopped. I didn't expect kindness, not anymore. Asterisk, the wrench in Noah's hand stilled. He looked at her, not as a mechanic, but as a man who knew the sound of someone trying not to fall apart. Most people don't, he said. But that's why it matters, she met his gaze. Held it, and then something shifted, not in the air, not in the snow, in her. She stepped closer to the car and reached into the glove box. Pulled out a small, leather-bound notebook, worn around the edges, the kind of thing someone carried even after the world told them everything should be digital now. I never show this to anyone, she said. But I think you'll understand. She handed it to him. He opened it gently. Like it might break, inside, drawings, diagrams, notes in a hand, both fast and elegant, blueprints, mechanical sketches. Ideas far beyond what a small-town garage might see. Noah blinked. These are yours? She nodded. I used to work in restoration. High-performance builds, concept engines. I had a team. A lab. Then the contracts turned into something else. Something that didn't sit right with me. I walked away. Or tried to. He kept flipping diagrams of modular electric engines, hybrid torque designs, combustion innovations that hinted at something. $1 billion level. This is real, he whispered. I know. You walked away from all this? She nodded. I walked away from the kind of money that poisons people. I'd rather fix something honest and broken than build something powerful and cruel. Noah stared at the pages a moment longer, then closed the book and handed it back. You didn't end up here, he said. You came home for a minute. Eva said nothing, just tucked the notebook back in its place. The wind picked up. Outside, the clouds hung low. Somewhere in the distance, a truck engine echoed, but the street remained empty. You could have sold that design, he said finally. Lived like royalty. I'd rather live like myself, she replied, then, more softly, who did you lose, Noah? He looked down. My daughter, 5 years ago. She didn't ask how, didn't need to, She used to sit on that stool, he said. Pretend she was fixing things with me. Had her own little wrench set, pink handles. Ava looked at the stool? A long silence. I bet she was proud of you, she said. Noah's voice came slower now. I used to think if I just kept fixing things, maybe I wouldn't break all the way. She reached out, just barely, and placed her hand on his, oil and all. You didn't, she whispered. And it was such a simple thing. A touch. But in that moment, the entire weight of his solitude cracked just enough to let light in. The heater clicked on inside. The shop warmed. Outside, the sky was turning soft blue. Your Mustang's almost road-ready, Noah said after a moment. But I think she wants you to rest first. Eva gave a small laugh. She always did have better instincts than me. They stepped back inside together. Noah poured 2 more cups of coffee. This time they sat at the workbench. He told her about the first car he ever fixed, an old station wagon that died on a farm road when he was 16. She told him about the first time she outpaced the boys at a design meet and how they never looked at her the same again. They didn't talk about what tomorrow would bring. They didn't need to. That night, Eva stayed again, not because she had to, but because the silence had changed. It wasn't just kindness anymore, it was a beginning, and in the quiet hum of the garage, between the scent of oil and coffee, between worn tools and half-fixed dreams, 2 broken people sat across from each other, slowly remembering what it felt like to be seen. Snowmelt dripped slowly from the edge of the garage roof. It was warmer now. The kind of warmth that made silence feel like something alive, something with breath and heartbeat. The streets outside were still mostly empty. Just a delivery truck. Or a kid on a bike cutting across slush, But inside Noah's garage, something had begun to change. Not loudly, not all at once. Just the slow shift of 2 lives thawing in each other's company. Eva stayed another night. Then another, she didn't say why. And Noah didn't ask. He showed her how to recalibrate the timing chain. She showed him a faster way to rewire the ignition coil. They worked shoulder to shoulder, and sometimes their hands touched by accident. But neither one moved away quickly anymore. Noah had started leaving the heater on in the back room before she got there. He didn't know why. Maybe he just wanted her to feel expected. Not like a visitor anymore, like someone who belonged. And Eva. She started sleeping without her shoes on. That was the first sign. Then she began folding the flannel shirt before setting it down. Then, one quiet afternoon, she brought out 2 sandwiches she'd made in the tiny kitchenette out back. He didn't ask where the bread had come from. She didn't say. They just ate somewhere in the middle of that slow, unexpected rhythm. Eva asked him, do you want to see it? Noah looked up from the carburetor he was cleaning. See what? She hesitated. My other notebook. The one I never let out of my hands. He wiped his fingers on a rag. Nodded once. Ava disappeared into the back. When she returned, she was holding a leather bag, worn, with initials too faded to read. She placed it on the counter like it weighed something more than paper. When she opened it. Noah didn't speak, he just looked. What he saw wasn't just engineering. It was vision. Pages of folded diagrams, layers of coded schematics, margins filled with calculations and revisions. Concepts that hadn't reached the market yet. Words like quiet compression, sustainable torque design, self-repair, mapping. Next to the sketches were bits of story, little notes in Ava's handwriting. For the girl who might someday drive home alone. For my father, who trusted machines because people let him down. Built for kindness, not for profit. Noah leaned forward. You designed all this? Eva nodded, before I walked away. What is it? It's what every major automaker tried to buy. The cleanest hybrid drive in the world. Low emissions, high resilience. Designed for single parents, military families, teachers, people who never get the best tech first. Noah's breath came slow. Why didn't you sell it? She looked at him for a long moment. Because they didn't want it for them. They wanted it for themselves, for shareholders, for PR, for control. Her voice softened. I built it for the people who can't afford to break down. The quiet held them both, and then Noah asked the one question he hadn't dared until now. Eva, who are you really? She didn't flinch. I used to be someone people returned calls for within minutes. I used to be in rooms full of suits and cameras and numbers that didn't feel real. I used to have a title. One of those words they print in magazines. She looked down. Then I told the truth. That I wouldn't sell them the design. That I wouldn't be part of something that broke the people it claimed to save. So I disappeared. Noah's voice came gently. And now? Now I'm tired and I don't want to run anymore. The wind picked up outside. A piece of old cardboard scraped softly against the sidewalk. Noah stepped back and looked at her. Really looked. Not just at her bruised history or her billion-dollar secret. But the way she stood there. Brave in her stillness. Raw in her honesty. Then he reached under the counter and pulled out something he hadn't touched in years. A small, square tin, rusted at the edges. He placed it on the counter without a word. Eva tilted her head. What's this? He opened. Inside, letters, dozens of them. Some written in pencil, others in crayon. One folded in a heart shape. Ava didn't touch them. Not yet. Just waited. Noah's voice dropped, quieter than she'd ever heard. My daughter used to write letters to the sky. Said she didn't know where heaven was, so she'd send them there. We'd write them together sometimes, then burn them in. The fire pit out back, said the smoke carried them. Eva swallowed. She died just before her 7th birthday, drunk driver. Broad daylight, I was working on a truck down the block. I heard the brakes, I ran, but... His hands trembled. He steadied them on the counter. I kept these. Couldn't burn them? Couldn't let them go? Eva reached out, her fingers brushing the edge of the tin. Can I read one? He nodded once. She picked one gently from the pile. Opened it. Slowly, the handwriting was uneven, spelling uncertain. But the message was unmistakable. Asterisk, dear Sky. Please tell my daddy he can laugh again. He used to laugh. I miss it. Eva didn't cry. She just placed the letter back, folded it carefully, and stood in silence with him. Then she said the simplest thing. She was right. Noah looked up. You can laugh again. Asterisk, and it broke something. Not in a shattering way, but in the way a frozen river finally begins to crack in spring. Asterisk, his breath caught. Then released. He closed the tin and placed it back beneath the counter. They didn't say anything more. Asterisk, because something had been said that couldn't be unsaid. Noah turned back to the garage door and motioned toward the Mustang. She's ready, he said. Asterisk, Eva nodded. But she didn't move. He hesitated, then said, You don't have to go, asterisk. I know, asterisk, but she still didn't answer. Just looked down at the car, then back at him. Finally, what if I stayed? Noah didn't speak right away. Then he said softly, asterisk, then maybe we both get to start again. Asterisk outside, the last snowflakes of winter whispered down in slow, deliberate spirals, and inside the quiet warmth of the garage, something unspoken settled between them. Not love, not yet, but something just as rare, the choice to trust again. Asterisk. Spring didn't arrive all at once. Asterisk, it crept in like an apology, slow drips from the roof, muddy boots by the door, the occasional crow's call across an open sky. But in the corners of Noah's world, something had shifted. The air no longer bit at his skin. The silence no longer ached, and Eva was still there, not in the way things linger when they don't know where else to go, but in the way a seed settles when it finally finds soil soft enough to trust. She moved quietly through the garage now, part of its rhythm, not a guest. Asterisk, she'd started drawing again. Not blueprints this time, not engines or schematics or market-ready builds. Asterisk, just sketches, gentle ones, of the garage. The old flannel shirt hanging by the door. A bird's nest she'd found on the windowsill. Once, Noah caught her drawing him, not his face, but his hands. She didn't hide it, he just smiled. Noah had never spoken the word stay aloud. But he didn't need to. It was stitched into everything he did. The extra mug he always washed. The way he left the garage heater on even when the forecast promised warmth. The way he cleared space on the bench and never filled it back up. Asterisk one. Quiet Thursday, Eva brought in a cardboard box. Asterisk. What's that? He asked. Asterisk. My past, she said, setting it down. Asterisk inside were fragments of the woman she used to be, name tags from conferences, award plaques, a sleek tablet filled with contracts, non-disclosure agreements, cease and desists. She pulled out one item at a time, handling each like something she no longer feared. Asterisk then, near the bottom, she found it, a letter, still sealed, handwritten, yellowed with time. Asterisk. Noah looked up as she stilled. Asterisk. This was from my father, she said. Left it for me the day he died. I was too angry to read it. He'd begged me not to take the first job offer. Said the world didn't need more machines, it needed more mercy. She held it now with both hands. I haven't opened it. Not once. Noah stepped forward slowly. Do you want to? Asterisk. She nodded. A single, quiet breath. Asterisk. He sat beside her as she carefully peeled the envelope open, revealing 2 folded pages. Her father's handwriting was neat, unrushed, the kind of script you didn't see anymore. Asterisk. Eva began to read aloud, greater than. Eva, if you're reading this, then I'm already gone. And I hate that. I hate leaving you behind in a world that doesn't always make room for gentle hands and big ideas. But you always had both. You fixed things, not just engines, but people. You listened before you built. That mattered more than you know. Asterisk. They'll come for your gifts. They'll offer you more than you dreamed and ask for your soul in return. Say no. Say no if it costs your peace. Say no if it silences your kindness. Asterisk. You come from a line of builders, but what we build should never be louder than the love we carry. Asterisk. If you ever lose your way, just find someone who still works with their hands. Someone who doesn't rush, asterisk, you'll know them by how they look at broken things, not with disgust, but with patience. Trust that kind of person. That kind of person will bring you home, asterisk, Dad. Asterisk, when the last line left her lips, Eva folded the letter back with shaking hands. She didn't cry. She just stared at the page a long time before placing it back in the box. Asterisk, then she turned to Noah. Asterisk, and she smiled, not just with her mouth, but with something older. Something from the girl she used to be, before the boardrooms and the betrayals. Before the scars, I think he meant you, she said. Noah didn't speak, just reached for her hand. Held it, quietly. Asterisk later that evening, as the light spilled golden through the garage windows. They worked on the Mustang together. Eva had decided to repaint it, not to hide the rust, but to honor the miles. She chose a deep, steady green, the same shade her father's eyes used to be. Asterisk, she took her time with every stroke. Noah sanded beside her, careful not to rush her rhythm. Asterisk, and when it was done, they stood back together. The car gleamed in the fading light. Not new, not perfect, but whole. Eva turned to him. I was offered a meeting last week, she said. A private one. Investor flew in, tracked me down, said they'd buy the design site unseen. Asterisk, Noah's brow lifted. You didn't tell me. Asterisk, I didn't need to. Asterisk, what did you say? She smiled. I told them I already found what I was building for. Asterisk, Noah didn't ask what that meant. He just stepped closer. Asterisk, I thinking, she said softly. Maybe the most radical thing I could do with my design is nothing, asterisk, nothing, asterisk, no press, no patents, just build one. Quietly, for someone who needs it. Then teach them how to build it for someone else, and let it spread like that, slow, honest. Asterisk, he looked at her like he hadn't seen the world in color until now. Asterisk, that sounds like redemption. Asterisk, it feels like home. Asterisk, they stood there, leaning on the Mustang's hood, the scent of paint and spring dust in the air. No rush, no clock. Just breath and quiet joy. Asterisk, then, without planning it, Noah reached into his back pocket. Pulled out a folded piece of paper. It was worn, the edges soft from years of being carried. He handed it to her. Eva opened it. Asterisk, it was a letter, written in his daughter's handwriting. One he hadn't shown her before. Asterisk, greater than Dear Sky. Asterisk, if you meet someone kind and sad like my daddy, tell her he makes good toast. And he always lets me win at checkers. And if she stays, can you make her laugh too? I think he misses laughter. I think she will be really pretty, but mostly kind. Eva pressed the paper to her chest. She didn't need to say anything. Asterisk, that night, she didn't sleep in the back room. Asterisk, she stayed beside him, her head on his shoulder, their hands still dusted with paint and promise. Asterisk, and when morning came, with birdsong this time, the shop felt different, not cleaner, not quieter, just fuller. A few weeks later, a young mother broke down outside town. Her car sputtered to a stop near a dirt road. She had a crying baby in the back and nowhere to go. Asterisk, a man and a woman in coveralls pulled up beside her in an old green Mustang. They didn't ask for money. They just helped. Asterisk, the woman reached into the trunk and pulled out a blueprint, simple, folded, handed with care. Asterisk, and somewhere down the road, in another small town, the building began again. No headlines, just kindness. Asterisk, if this story touched you, subscribe or share where you're watching from. Asterisk, because somewhere tonight someone's still fixing something broken. Gently, and these stories matter.